We are live. Welcome back to another edition of the Earle Sports Bet Show. My name is Nicholas Earle. Just me today, as we have 7 games in the NBA. We have 2 games in the NHL, or 3 games in the NHL, 2 games in the NFL. We get to the second half of the divisional round for the playoffs. But we will get it started with a recap of yesterday. Started off really strong and then just fell off a cliff. Auburn minus 5.5 was a loser to start the day. St. Peter's plus 2.5, they went outright. Rhode Island minus 2 pushed. Richmond plus 7.5 won. Merrimack minus 6.5 loss. Wisconsin money line winner. Purdue plus 2.5 outright winner. Colorado plus 3.5 was a loser. UNCG minus a 6.5 was a winner. Mount St. Mary's plus 3 gets blown out against Quinnipiac. Missouri minus 5 was a winner there. NC State minus 5.5 loser. Washington State, I believe they ran away a little bit in the second or in the first half there. It was a close game. I remember it once. They covered the 15.5 there. And then after that, just Long Beach State got blown out, lose the minus 3.5. San Diego State loses outright to UNLV, and they don't cover the 10.5, obviously. But we did get a win with UC Irvine to end the day. So strong. I mean, college basketball wasn't bad yesterday. It was the other sports that were frustrating. Hockey started off well. Ottawa minus the 135 and the over 5.5. Never in doubt on the Ottawa money line. I believe it was 5-3 Boston at one point. And Ottawa came all the way back and won it in a shootout, which was cool. And then later in the day, let me find it. Yeah, Columbus loses in a shootout. That was kind of frustrating there against the Rangers. Montreal was up 3-0. And they lose 7-3. So that was fun there. Detroit plus 180. They lose 5-1. Pittsburgh, Washington over 5.5 finishes 4-1. One on the double up in that wild game though. Nashville minus 1 and the over 5.5. Nashville does it all by themselves. The over 5.5 in that one there. So that was a very successful game. The Blues, though, end the night off with a loss. The NBA, it was only one play for me, and it was Cleveland minus 7, and they won by exactly 7. So that was a push. So really no results in the NBA yesterday for me. And then the NFL started off with a win with the under 41.5 with Houston and Kansas City, and I was dead wrong on the Lions game. Lions minus 8.5 was a loser. Full game on team total under 23.5 with the Commanders was also a loser. And that's what happens when you have, I believe, 18 injuries on defense. Eventually, the defense just gives out. And that's exactly what we saw yesterday. It's just all the injuries finally added up for Detroit, and it resulted in a frustrating loss. I still think that fully healthy, this team could have won the Super Bowl. I will stick by that. But when you are having second, third, fourth stringers on defense in the playoffs, you're going to get exposed, unfortunately. And that's eventually just what happened yesterday. Frustrating, but it happens. I'll probably have futures on the Lions again next year because if their defense can stay healthy, I think that they're still the best team in football. It's just unfortunately for them, that wasn't the case. Injuries happen, and we move on. But we have 7 games in the NBA to go over. We have 2 games in the NFL. We have 3 games in the NHL. So let's get into it here. I've moved on to 2 football games, and I've beaten some nice line movements on them there. So that's always nice to see. But we'll kick it on off here with the Miami Heat. They're taking on the San Antonio Spurs. We have the Heat minus 3.5 total, 220.5. Taking a look at the line history here. In this game taking place at 3:10, so this isn't a little bit of an earlier game. Line opened up 2.5. It's now a 3.5. So we do have a move towards these Miami Heat. Line opened up at a 223. It's now a 220.5. Taking a look at the cash flow in this game here, we do have 62% of the tickets, 61% of the cash on the Miami Heat, 86% of the tickets, 82% of the cash is on the over in this one as well, with the line dropping. Miami's coming in off of 3 straight losses, and the closest loss there was a 9-point loss against the Lakers. There were double-digit losses against both the Clippers and the Nuggets in their last couple games. On the flip side, we do have the San Antonio Spurs coming in off of back-to-back double-digit losses. Both of them were to Memphis, so they lost to good teams, obviously, there. And previous to that, they beat the Lakers. So kind of an interesting spot there for both teams coming in struggling a little bit as of late. I really don't want to lay the points with the Heat, but do I really want to trust the San Antonio Spurs right now? This is a Spurs team that kind of struggles on the road, 7-11 compared to 12-10 at home. Miami is a team that I just don't trust as favorites most of the time. So it's a tricky spot really for me to want to get involved with this game. I guess I lean Heat if I had to bet anything in this spot, but not a game I'm going to force action in. So I'm going to start off the day with a pass. No chat, so we'll keep on going here. Sorry for the early start time. I have things today, and starting it at 10 instead of 10:30 made the most sense, so it happens. But we will move on. The Orlando Magic. They're taking on the Denver Nuggets. It's a Nuggets 7.5, 8-point favorites, total of 221. Line opened up at a 221.5. It is now a 221. Slight move towards the under in this one. Line opened up at a 6. It's now an 8. So we do have a move towards the Denver Nuggets in this game here. Doesn't shock me. 92% of tickets, 94% of cash is on the Denver Nuggets. They're coming in off of a nice win. Denver in this spot. 92% of tickets, 87% of cash is on the over here as well. Just ultimately not spots I want to get involved with. I mean, I guess it would be Orlando or nothing if I'm getting to this game at all. They're coming in off of a bad loss, 121-94. Granted, it was against the Boston Celtics, but still a 27-point loss. And previous to that, it was a 9-point loss. So back-to-back really bad losses for the Orlando Magic. I can understand why everybody is on the Denver Nuggets in this game. But with that being said, this is Magic or nothing. And the question is, has this line moved too far? Which I think that is a legitimate question that we could ask, is if this line has gone too far. And is there value now on the Orlando Magic to take them at plus 8.5 over on ESPN Bet? I kind of think the answer is yeah. I kind of do. So I'm going to actually move on the 8.5 here. I think this line has gone too far. And we have Orlando off of back-to-back and back-to-back blowout losses. So I'm going to take a shot here. Give me the Magic plus the 8.5 minus 115 over on ESPN Bet. I just think this is a spot where we have a Nuggets team just laying too many points. So Magic plus the 8.5 for me in this one. We'll keep it going. The Milwaukee Bucks taking on the Philadelphia 76ers. This game, 12.5-point favorites are the Bucks, total of 223. Line opened up at 11.5. It's now a 12.5. So we have a line move towards Milwaukee. Line opened up at a 221. It's now a 223. A move towards the over here in this one. 71% of tickets, 74% of cash is on the Bucks. The line's at least moving towards them for those who want to back them. 92% of the tickets and 87% of cash on the over here as well. Another game that just doesn't scream out too much to me here in this one. If they were a little bit less public, I guess it would be Bucks or nothing. If I'm playing, I'm laying. But another game where just not enough of an edge, I think, in this game in order to take a shot with it. And the total, I don't really have too much of an interest in either as well. So this would be Bucks or nothing if I'm playing this game, but it's a pass for me in this one. What's good, Real Deal Prime? How are you doing this morning? We'll keep it going where we have the Brooklyn Nets taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder. We have the Thunder 17.5-point favorites in this game with a total of 216.5. Let's take a look at the looking at the line history in this one here. It opened up at a 17. It's still a 17. It's moved 5 cents in the direction of the Oklahoma City Thunder. And then line opened up at a 215, and it's now a 216.5. So we do have a move towards the over here as well. Looking at the line history, 58% of tickets, 71% cash on the Thunder. Line's moving at least slightly towards them. And then we have 93% of tickets, 94% cash on the over here as well. There's a couple of the games today that, a 17-point spread, I have probably no interest in whatsoever. However, my interest in the Brooklyn Nets, not particularly. These two teams, they last played over a year ago, so it's not like these two teams have seen each other recently. Oklahoma City is coming in off of an 8-point loss against the Dallas Mavericks. So they're coming in off of a loss, and they're playing one of the worst teams in basketball right now. And this is the last game of a road trip for the Brooklyn Nets. I understand why this line is a 17.5. It's disgusting, but I would only look towards the Thunder in this game, a bounce back spot potentially after the loss against the Mavericks, and they're getting a team that they can beat up on in the Brooklyn Nets. So I guess this would be Thunder or nothing for me if I'm playing. I'm laying once again. I don't want a lot of chalk though today. So for me, I would only look towards the Thunder. I think situationally it's a good spot for the Thunder. And maybe it's Thunder. Maybe it's just Oklahoma City first half and expecting them to just come out, take care of business early and not lay 17.5 points. Instead, what would it be laying? Never mind. 10 in the first half. No, thank you. 9.5 minus 120 over on Fanatics. No, thank you. It's Thunder or nothing, but I would have to be hard pressed to lay 17 points. Even though I think situationally it's not a bad spot to lay 17 points, I'm not going to do it though. So no action for me in this game. We will move on. 3 games remaining in the NBA. We have the Chicago Bulls minus 6.5 total of 236.5 in this game. Let's take a look at the line history where it opened up at a 4, went to a 4.5, a 5, a 5.5, a 6, and now a 6.5. We've had just a straight line movement, no buyback at all on the Bulls here in this one. And then the line opened up at 236. It's now at 236.5. So a slight move towards the over here as well. We have 77% of tickets, 82% of cash is on the Bulls. So that makes sense that the line has just continued to move one direction, and that was towards the Chicago Bulls. And we have 42% of tickets and 58% of cash on the under. So sharp money coming in on the under here a little bit as well. Tricky game. I feel like if you want the Bulls, you've kind of missed your price because it's done nothing but move towards the Bulls. I think an interesting question for this game would be how far is too far before we go ahead and take Portland. We do have the Bulls coming in on 4 straight losses. So do you want to trust them laying 6.5 points on the road while on a 4-game losing streak, 5 of the last 6? Their only win was against the Washington Wizards. On the flip side, though, do we trust the Portland Trailblazers? They've lost 5 in a row. They've covered in only 1 of them. They've lost 8 of their last 10 games. This is a struggling Portland team. So ultimately, I don't want to lay points on the road with the Bulls on this losing streak, but I don't trust the Blazers either. It would be dog or pass for me, though. I would only look towards the dog in this game, but I think there's better spots out there than trying to lay points on or trying to take points with the Portland Trailblazers today. So another game, no action. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Magic are my only NBA play today because we have this one, then we have the Sacramento Kings are 17-point favorites in the following game. So we had the LA Lakers and the LA Clippers. The Clippers 4-point favorites in this game, total of 214.5. Line opened up at a 6, it's down to a 4. Line opened up at a 217, and it is down to a 214. But this line did open up at a 6 and went to a 5.5 and then dropped down to a 3 before coming back to a 4. So kind of interesting line movement there in this one. Let's take a look at the cash flow. 65% of tickets and 69% of the cash is on the Clippers in this one here with the line moving since the opening line to the Lakers. 96% of tickets, 89% of cash on the over here as well. So kind of a public over here in this one. Not surprising. Even though both these teams have been more of under teams this year, so kind of interesting there. The Lakers are coming in off of back-to-back wins. They were They were big favorites, though, against the Nets in their last game, and they won by 1 point. On the flip side, we have the Clippers coming in on 3 straight wins, but they've played Miami, okay, and then Brooklyn and Portland. This is definitely a step up in competitions from Brooklyn and Portland. Clippers have kind of had the Lakers numbers the last 10 matchups, 7 of the last 10, but the 3 wins for the Lakers have come within the last 4 matchups against each other. It's Lakers or nothing for me. That would be the only way I would look in this game. I want to see, can I get a 4.5 anywhere? I can get a 4.5, and it is on ESPN Bet and Fanatics. Fanatics give me 4.5 minus 115 or minus 110. My bad. I'm gonna take the Lakers in this game. Lakers plus 4.5 minus 110. I think this is too many points potentially. The market's moving towards the Lakers. I think situationally, the Lakers kind of not an eye-opening game, but like you're coming in off of a game where you won by 1 point against a team that previously got blown out by 59. So I think this could be a spot where the Lakers step up. This is an in-state rivalry. Is this the first matchup that they're playing in the Clippers' new arena, the Lakers? Because they go into their new arena and steal a win from them. That would be interesting there. Yeah, the last time these two teams played was in February of 2024. So this is the first matchup in the Intuit Dome there for the Clippers hosting the Lakers. So I think the Lakers go in and potentially win this game outright. I'll take the 4.5 at minus 110 over on Fanatics. Final game of the card, and woof. We have 2 17-point favorites on the card. I did not think the Sacramento Kings would be a 17-point favorite really ever this year. But this line opened up at a 14.5, immediately jumped to a 16. Then went to a 16.5, and now a 17. Line opened up at a 235. It's still a 235. So we do have really no line movement on the total, and we have a move towards the Kings on the side in this one. We have 61% of the tickets, 66% of the tickets, 61% of cash is on the Washington Wizards, and the line's moving towards the Kings. Damn, are the Kings actually the play here at minus 17, minus 17.5? 93% tickets, 91% cash on the over. These two teams haven't played since March of last year, so that doesn't really matter. Sacramento coming in off of a nice win. They were 5-point favorites against the Houston Rockets. They covered, or they pushed in that game. Actually, they covered. I got 4 with them in that game. On the flip side, we have the Washington Wizards coming in on 9 straight losses. They have covered in 3 in a row, though. They covered last night. It's 14-point favorites. Now we have them on their second half of a back-to-back, a third game in 4 nights against a rested Sacramento team. I don't want to lay 17 points, but that would be the only way I look in this game, would be towards the Sacramento Kings. So it's if I'm playing, I'm laying, but I am not laying 17 points. That is a lot of freaking points. So that'll be enough to keep me off of that one there. And have my 2 plays be the Magic and the Lakers for today. That is the NBA card. And we'll transition from the NBA to the NFL. We have the LA Rams and the Philadelphia Eagles. I've doubled up on this game here. Let's get into it. We have the Eagles anywhere between 6 to 6.5 point favorites in this game, with a total of 42. And I got involved earlier in the week at a much better number than what you could get today. Let's take a look at the line history in this one. Line opened up at a 4.5, immediately went to a 6 within a half an hour of the line opening. And it's now a 6.5. This line opened up at a 45.5, got all the way down to a 44, now down to a 43.5, and now down to a 42. So we've had a big line movement towards the under here as well. I am on the under. I got it at 44, though. I got under 44 in this game, and I got the Eagles at minus 6 in this game. I came into this thinking I am for sure going to be on the LA Rams in this game. That's kind of where I was thinking, and then I've flipped scripts once I started capping it. I think this is a bad scheduling situation for the LA Rams. You're coming in off of a short week. You played on Monday night. You had to deal with the fires in LA. The game got moved to Arizona. You had an emotional win there against the Vikings. And now you have to travel across the country on a short week to face an Eagles team that's just been chilling at home since December 22nd, because they played their last 3 games have been in Philadelphia against Dallas, against the Giants, and then the first on the wild card round against the Packers. So this has been an Eagles team that's had to endure no travel. The public is 59% of tickets, 61% of the cash is on the Rams, yet this line's moving towards the Eagles. And then 73% of tickets and 62% of the cash is on the over here as well, and the line dropping. So I think this is a good spot to fade the public on a public dog. I'm going to be on the Eagles -6. I got that a couple days ago at -110. I would play anything below a 7 personally. So the 6.5 I think is fine. I would pump the brakes on the under now that we're seeing 41.5s. I got 44, and I think that type of line movement is too much for me to endorse an under now. So this would just be, I'm on the Eagles. If you can find a 42.5, maybe, but I'd maybe pump the brakes or put a smaller bet on the under now that it's no longer a 44. So Eagles in the under for me in this game. I see this as a game where the Rams kind of get shut down. But we'll continue on. The Buffalo Bills and the Buffalo Bills and the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens 1-point favorites in this game, total of 51. Line opened up, Bills -1, immediately went to a pick'em, and now it's Baltimore -1. Line opened up at a 52. It's now down to a 51. So we do have a line move towards the under and a line move towards the Ravens. Line opened up -105 for the Ravens. It's now -118 on BetOnline. So we do have a nice line movement there towards Baltimore, with 48% of tickets, 59% of cash on the money line for Baltimore, 41% of tickets, 53% of cash on the spread for Baltimore. So sharp money all over Baltimore in this game, in this one. And then we have 55% of tickets are on the over, but 56% of cash on the under, and the line moving slightly towards the under. I guess I lean under in this game, if anything, but I'm on Baltimore in this game. I got the Ravens money line. I think I got -115 earlier in the week. I'd play it up to -120, -125 for Baltimore. It's a really strong Baltimore team. And the fact that this game has gone from dog to favorite with a Buffalo team that has not lost a game at home this year, and you can get them at even money now, it feels way too easy with this Buffalo team. 9-0 at Ralph Wilson Stadium this year. They've won 5 games in a row, or that's Baltimore. They've won 5 games in a row and covered in 5 in a row heading into this game. Buffalo won last week 31-7 against the Broncos. And now they'll be coming into this game after that. And then obviously Baltimore took care of business last week against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm on Baltimore. I got it at -115. I'd play it -120. I'm fine with that. And that is the NFL card for today. We will move on to the ice, where we have the New Jersey Devils taking on the Ottawa Senators. We have the Senators, the Devils -185 favorites, total 5.5 in this game. I have this game projected for the Devils to be favorites, but more along the lines of like 125. I'm shocked to see them this big of favorites. I kind of lean Ottawa, but I don't want to back Ottawa after that game yesterday. Ottawa coming in off of a 6-5 shootout win against a division rival, where it was a back and forth type of game. Boston went up 5-3, and then Ottawa came back, tied it, and won in a shootout. And then on the flip side, we have New Jersey. They're coming in off of a loss against the Philadelphia Flyers, where they really only had 13 shots on goal. That's embarrassing. I want the over in this game. I think that's where I'm going to land on this one here, because it's a 5.5, and I have this game projected for 6.19 goals. This is an early game. That's one thing to keep in mind. This game taking place at 1 o'clock today. And I can get over 5.5 -1. I'm seeing -120 on BetMGM. Let's take a look for the best available number here. I'm going to add the over to this for me here, and I can get -115 over on Bovada. So I'm going to go ahead and move on that here. Over 5.5 -115 is where I'll get my NHL card started today between the Ottawa Senators and the New Jersey Devils. We'll keep it moving. Really no chat today. Really quiet. I know we did start early, but yeah. But let's get into it. Second to last game on the card. The New York Rangers, the Montreal Canadiens. The Rangers minus 115 favorites, total of 6 in this game. I have this game projected for 6.26 goals. So, yeah, I guess it's slightly towards an under. I had the wrong team favorite in this game, though. And yes, Montreal, that was an embarrassing loss for them yesterday. You were up 3-0. You end up losing 7-3. That's bad. That's really bad. And I think this is a Montreal team where I think they bounce back from that. And they get right in this game here. We have the Rangers coming in off of a shootout win, a very unconvincing shootout win against the Columbus Blue Jackets yesterday's game. And I see this as a matchup where the Montreal Canadiens bounce back after yesterday's game against the Leafs. So give me the Habitones at plus 105 against the Rangers here at home. I think this is a good bounce back spot for said Canadiens. We'll move on. Final game of the card. The Detroit Red Wings and the Dallas Stars. We have the Stars minus 220, minus 225 favorites in this game. Total 6. I have this game projected at around 6.25 goals, so I think slightly towards an over here in this game. And I have this game projected for the Stars to be favorites. I don't think that's too far-fetched. I have this game along the lines of a 150 rather than a minus 225. This is another spot though where I don't really want to bet against either of these teams right now. Both these teams have been pretty good, but both these teams are coming off of bad losses in their last game. Detroit coming in off of that 5-1 loss against the Tampa Bay Lightning, and the Stars are coming in off of the loss against the Colorado Avalanche yesterday, 6-3. And they traveled back home, and the Red Wings traveled from Tampa to Dallas. So not the greatest of spots for either of these teams. I think these teams are in more, I want to say bet on than bet against spots, other than it being back-to-backs for both teams, but that kind of balances each other out with that. So something to keep an eye on for there. I mean, at this number, it'd be Red Wings or nothing. Detroit kind of needs something nice, but I'm ultimately not playing this one here. It would be dog or pass, but I think there's better spots out there. And I'm not going to force action on every game in the NHL card. I do have action on the first 2 games, but that is everything for today's show. If you haven't already, be sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel if you guys have not already, and turn on those post notifications so you guys are notified each and every time we are live here, which is every single morning, anywhere between 10 and 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sometimes we have earlier shows. Sometimes we have a little bit later shows. It's always going to be in between 10 and 11 a.m. though. So that is going to do it for this one. I want to thank you guys as always for watching, and we'll catch you guys same time, same place tomorrow for another edition of the Earle Sports Bet Show. Good luck, everyone.